All right. Good evening, everyone. I am meteorologist Emily McKinney. I'm giving Bill a break for the evening. He has been fighting sickness and sore throats and a lot of weather going on. So we're going to run through some updates real quick on the winter storm that is over us right now. We've already started to see maybe an inch and a half of snow that has been falling across the Commonwealth, and we're still in the thick of it and still have the worst still yet to come. So, with that, let's jump right into it. Let's take a look at Max Track Live Doppler as we're already tracking and have been throughout this afternoon and this evening. The snow showers that have been falling and likely falling at your house, you all have done a great job at sending me those photos, so keep those coming in. You can post those here. We also have a QR code that we'll show at 11 that you can scan to send those. You can also message those to me on Facebook. So right now what we are seeing is a little bit of maybe a small break from the snow here in Lexington. Got some drier air that's trying to work into the area. This is a snow killer as well. Sleet is a snow killer. Freezing rain definitely a snow killer. But what I think is happening is there's another round, if you will, or kind of a wave that's sitting off to the west. So we'll take a look at that in just a second. But what I want to show you is the bright banding. We're already beginning to see temperatures rising in the middle layers of the atmosphere, a little bit in Corbin, Williamsburg area. So that's where you start to see the purple colors kind of showing up. We also have some heavier snow that's still falling in Clay County, Leslie County, Perry County. So southeastern Kentucky seeing that. I want to switch over though to our analysis mode, take off the snow part, the color, the mask, if you will, and then just show you kind of where it is bright banding and where we're picking up heavier amounts of precipitation. This is likely where sleet is taking shape right now. If I can draw, you can see this for parts of Laurel County, Clay County, that where it's becoming a little bit more on the brighter side. Also, you've got some over around Jackson County and Rockcastle County. So where some of these brighter colors are showing up on radar, I believe is where we're beginning to see a transition over to sleet. There may be a little bit there in Whitley County as well, just west and north of Williamsburg. Some back over around Campbellsville too. Again, we're not seeing a whole lot of snow falling, at least what we can tell on radar right now. Let's look outside our LEX18 rooftop camera. Yeah, it has quieted down quite a bit because typically you can see it. I still see some snow blowing if you look in the light, the glow of the light. Otherwise, it's definitely not as heavy as it has been. This has been a very fine, light, powdery snow. This is the snow that just blows around. This is the very, almost like you would just pour sugar on the ground. It just, or powdered sugar. That's a better explanation. And it just kind of blows around. So this snow can still be very slick, but they've pre-treated the roads, I know, for about a day, day and a half now. So this is certainly helping. There comes a car there on just off of Russell Cave Road. So no issues. We haven't had any, at least I haven't heard any issues, and they're turning here into the station. Probably someone on dinner break coming back. So let's take a look at what's going on in an expansive view. Again, we've been tracking the storm. It's a huge storm, and I'll get to those changes in just a second, but you can kind of see this first little wave that has come in. Hasn't been a ton of heavy snow with this. Again, it's been the fine, powdery, very dry snow. But what we are looking at is a little back over to the west. You can start to see another wave, if you will, starting to move into, there's my cursor, Arkansas, northern Arkansas. So you've got some more stuff, snow, sleet, all of that, that will continue to move from the southwest to the northeast and land on our doorstep. Okay, let's move on to, let's see, we showed you rooftop. Let's look at the temperatures. It is so cold outside, 13 degrees. We've got winds as well, so we've got 18 degrees in Somerset, it's 12 degrees in Owenton. These are actual air temperatures, and then this is the wind chill. It feels like -3 degrees. Okay, you all know all that. Let's kind of talk about some changes, because I know we've been talking about maybe a little bit more warm air trying to move in that pushes the sleet line up. So let's take a look at the snowfall map. I'm sure you all are already saying, show us the maps already. We do have, let's put it in play mode. Okay, so we do have still that same 6 to 10 inches of snow for Lexington areas along I-64, then heading down the Bluegrass Parkway into the Western Parkway, Western Kentucky Parkway. If we see more sleet, then that's going to knock some of the snow totals down. It may be closer to 6 rather than 10. You're still looking at all snow in far northern Kentucky. Somebody's going to see a foot out of this. It's just going to happen. Someone will see a foot of snow from this. On down just south of Lexington, south of Fayette County, moving down toward Danville, Richmond, Campbellsville, Mount Vernon, Jackson, West Liberty, Campton, you're going to be in this camp where you're 4 to 8 inches of snow, but probably more of an ice storm. You got a lot of sleet and some freezing rain that's moving in. And then on down toward far southern, southeastern Kentucky, a little bit of snow, a lot of sleet, a lot of rain, and probably some freezing rain in there as well. But a lot of the models are showing that there's a good amount of just plain rain coming to parts of southern and southeastern Kentucky. I'm going to do my best. My comments aren't loading here, so I'm going to look over here, and I'm going to do my best to answer some of your questions as they come in. But I'm going to try to do two things at once. Multitasking here. Okay, so let's move on to... this is a particular graphic that we haven't been showing a whole lot, but I do want to show it because I think it's important. When we talk about ice accruing or ice accumulations, a lot of the models show how much rain could be falling if you melted everything down to liquid precipitation, the liquid equivalent. But this may give us a better idea of how much ice we could actually see accruing. There's a very sharp cutoff with this. As you can see, the line of the real fine pink, the real light pink, moves basically right along the Bluegrass Parkway up to Fayette County and then kind of follows I-64, maybe just a scotch above I-64. Look though where all of the 0.8s and 0.7s come in. It's going to be somewhere between just south of Lexington, just north of Richmond, north of Danville, down toward Campbellsville, kind of circles around Somerset and London and back up toward eastern Kentucky. This is kind of that area that we've been talking about ice storm potential, which is why I just showed you in that last graphic. So this is where you're probably going to have most of the ice accruing or accumulating. This could also lead to the tree limbs down, the power outages, things like that. And we've been talking about how expansive the storm is and how intense it's going to be and how just in general disruptive to life it is, has already been and will continue to be. But when we're talking about ice on your house, ice on your car, ice on the roads, that's just, it's dangerous. It's downright dangerous, especially if we lose power and how cold it's going to be coming up. So I wanted to show you this. Don't pay so much attention to the actual numbers, but more so that there's going to be, and I wish I had my little drawing. Let me see if I can do this. Bear with me. My little drawing pen here. Okay, so the main axis, I think, of the heaviest ice, freezing rain, and I think some sleet will be in there as well, is going to run from just south of Mount Sterling, north of Danville, on down toward Bowling Green, but then also back up around Somerset, London, something like this. That's kind of your band of, I think, the greatest potential for an ice storm. This is going to be maybe a ½ inch of ice. There might be a few spots in that area that pushes up closer to 3/4 of an inch of ice. We hope that that's not the case, but we got to keep you prepared. So let's take this off, save, and let's go back. Okay. Okay, so far we've only picked up around an inch, maybe an inch and a half of snow. So the worst is still yet to come, and I'm going to walk you through future track now. So we're seeing the snow right now. Remember at the beginning I told you there's the beginning of the changes of sleet starting in southern southeastern Kentucky. That's going to work its way northward. So as we progress through time, this is showing at 10 p.m., so another hour from now. Temperatures start to rise in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That changes it to sleet. You can start to see that line moving all the way up toward maybe even just north of Lexington. This is our barren model. This is our in-house model that we use all the time. You can see all the pink. That is sleet. Watch what happens though in southeastern Kentucky. As early as maybe 5, 6 a.m. Sunday, you start to see the green taking over in far southeastern Kentucky. That is freezing rain. As temperatures, the surface temperature, which is shown here on the map, begins to rise above 32, that's going to change to all rain. Just plain old cold rain. That will certainly help to not only knock down snow totals, but really knock down the ice as well. So at this point, we'll take rain over the ice for certain. But you can see that's the changes that we've been talking about. And when you are talking about sleet, we're not so concerned about sleet as far as it being so disruptive because it's very similar to snow. You can move it, you can, get rid of it. Ice is a different story. When you got the solid sheet of ice, the glazing, that's a different story. So the sleet isn't so much dangerous, it's just a nuisance, but it can also pile up like snow can. So when we talk about totals, we're kind of showing you totals of both snow and sleet together, but the freezing rain, that's a completely different ballgame. So you can see how expansive the sleet is, even as early as 6 a.m. on Sunday. Move throughout the day. Watch how heavy the rain gets in southern Kentucky. You've got temperatures just above freezing, so a lot of this will be just rain. If you've got a surface, though, that's below freezing, it's going to freeze on contact. That's what we call freezing rain. Notice the sleet still around Lexington, still in Mount Sterling, still in Moorhead. We move on through Sunday afternoon. The precip still sticks around for several hours, allowing us to put down more inches of snow and sleet. And hopefully no freezing rain, but potentially accruing or accumulating the freezing rain as ice. Temperatures warm up just a little bit in Lexington, around 23, but we're still kind of changing back over to snow at this point. This is when the storm is winding down, Sunday afternoon. Moving into Sunday night, we're done. We're pretty much finished with it. We've got one more small little push of snow. This is lighter snow. It's back to the powdery stuff because temperatures are so cold again. This is Monday morning at 5 a.m. After that, we're done. Then the cold air comes in. So I know it's been a very messy situation. I know we have we've had some changes, not a lot of changes. Mostly it's been kind of the sleet that we've been watching as far as the changes are concerned. So I'm going to put it back on Max Track and we'll talk about that for just a second. I'm going to read through some of these comments to see what you guys are asking, if I can see those. Okay. Let's see, how do I see all of the comments? I'm gonna do my best, Mike. Oh, let's turn this down. What was said about Mount Sterling? Are we getting a lot of ice? Mount Sterling is very similar to Lexington. You are in the 6 to 10 inch snow sleet category with some freezing rain. At this point, we think Lexington, it's going to be very minimal as far as the freezing rain is, but it could be a little bit. So that's for Mount Sterling. Let's see. So do we prefer sleet over freezing rain? Curtis asks, yes. Sleet is the snow pellets. It's ice pellets rather, but it acts like snow. You don't want the glazing, you don't want the freezing rain because that makes a solid sheet of ice. The sleet you can push around, you can pick it up, you can move it. So yeah, the sleet has some traction to it like snow. You can move it, you can push it out of the way. So yeah, sleet is a lot better as far as trying to live and drive in. Sleet doesn't accumulate on power lines. It doesn't cause power outages. Sleet doesn't cause tree limbs to fall. That's only freezing rain. So yeah, we definitely like sleet better than freezing rain. Again, time frame we're looking at, all of this is ongoing overnight. We've already seen the light snow, the powdery, fine, fluffy, dry snow throughout this afternoon and this evening. We continue into the overnight stretch with more snow. It's changing to sleet overnight, and then tomorrow is when we get just everything. The snow north, the sleet mixing with snow around Lexington, the sleet, and then the freezing rain in southern Kentucky. So tomorrow's the messiest of the day. I think overnight tonight we could have a pretty good shot at waking up tomorrow morning seeing more snow on the ground, certainly than what we have right now. Nicholasville, you are very similar to Lexington, somewhere between the 6 and 10 inch sleet snow portion with minimal freezing rain, little bit of freezing rain. How bad will it get in Estill County? Estill County, just east of Richmond. Estill County is in that ice storm. Remember, I drew the picture with the ice. Estill County is very similar to Richmond, so still 4 to 8 inches of snow sleet, but the ice storm is the biggest potential there. We could pick up in Estill County maybe as much as around ½ an inch of ice. Again, we're kind of estimating what the ice totals. The various models like to say various things, but they're showing the greatest potential for ice kind of in that range running from Richmond, Danville, down toward London, Somerset, in between there. So they're kind of central Kentucky counties. Rockcastle County. Yeah, I got my Rockcastle County people watching tonight. Rockcastle, you are still kind of in that ice storm range as well. So you could see maybe around ½ an inch of ice. Again, don't focus so much on the totals of ice as much as we're saying you've got the potential at least for an ice storm. When we say ice storm, that just means more ice than if we were to say a little bit of freezing rain. So ice storm's going to be running around ½ an inch of ice or so. Power outages, trees down, impassable roads, things like that. Okay, I'm looking for some pretty specific questions. I know sometimes the map is difficult to read. Okay, when will it change to sleet in Rockcastle? Okay, we've got that potential coming up tonight. So right now we're already starting to see some sleet taking shape down around, say, the London, Corbin area. Our Barron model shows the sleet kind of pushing into Rockcastle County maybe by the next hour or two, 11 p.m., midnight, somewhere around in there. And then, as you can see, it continues to work northward toward I-64 by midnight, 2 a.m. Sunday, and then it just kind of stays there. So again, Lexington could see quite a bit of sleet. And again, that's going to drop your snow totals down. It's going to be that mix of snow and sleet. But again, the greatest threat for that icing or the ice storm is going to be running Danville, Richmond, up toward, say, Mount Sterling, down toward London, Somerset area. Again, this is really rough. You guys know the drill. You know how winter weather works. Let's go back to MaxTrack right now. Tracking some of those showers, some heavier snow showers right now for some. If I move over to the analysis mode and kind of take off the precip mask, which just shows rain, if you will. We obviously know that snow, but it just kind of lets us know where the heavier bits are. Take a look at Clay County right now, right around Manchester. We're actually seeing some pretty heavy amounts showing up there. So that could either be really heavy snow or it could be sleet really mixing in. So what happens with sleet is a little bit more reflective because there is more ice in it. Remember, it's an ice pellet. It is snow that has melted on the way down through the atmosphere. It has melted in that warmer column of air, and then it refreezes right before it hits the ground. So it doesn't refreeze to a snowflake, it refreezes as a snow pellet. It has to be extremely cold to refreeze as a snowflake. And remember, all the precipitation, even rain on a summer day, starts as snow in the upper levels of the atmosphere because that's how cold it is up there. So sleet has a little bit more reflective property, so it's bouncing off the radar beam and showing up at a higher rate here. So that's probably some sleet there. You've got some sleet down around, let's see which, I have to zoom out. This is Knox County, so just north of Barberville, Crane Nest and Cannon, Girdler. You've got some sleet there. Also may be getting to see just a touch of sleet moving into the Crab Orchard area and Dog Walk area of Lincoln County, and that's moving into Rockcastle County. Okay, so still got lots of snow to come through tonight. We are certainly not out of the worst of it. We've got more coming in overnight. We've got almost, let's see, almost another 24 hours of this. So we're almost halfway through. We said this was going to be a 2-day event. The winter storm warning does not expire until 7 a.m. on Monday. And then we know that beyond that, it just gets brutally cold. You've got wind chills right now, which are brutal. -2 degrees is how it feels in Lexington. Let's take a look outside here in Lexington and see if we can spot some snow. I mean, there's clearly snow on the ground, snow on the grass, snow on the rooftop, but I don't see it falling at a really heavy pace, at least for right now. Let's see. Let's show you the big storm once again. Remember, I just mentioned a little bit earlier, we're kind of through this wave 1, but notice how back over around, okay, I can draw it here. See how the colors get a little darker here? That's kind of a next little wave that I think is moving in, and it's going to be moving our direction. This is what's coming in tonight, overnight. So again, that's why I say we're probably going to be waking up to more snow, sleet mix on the ground as we head into Sunday morning. Okay, so let me read just a couple more questions. I know you all are wanting very specific areas, but I'm going to keep this map up right here so you can kind of see what you are expecting to see. Again, the blue area, 4 to 8 inches snow, sleet plus ice storm. That's going to be your greatest risk for ice accruing, tree limbs down, some power outages. Again, we're not seeing that right now. Everything is falling as snow right now, and that transition to sleet's beginning. The ice impact you're going to face is going to be Sunday. It's going to be tomorrow. Bill is on break right now, Daniel. They want all of us meteorologists to do Facebook Lives, so Tom's been doing them. Patrick did one this morning. Bill's been doing them for almost all week now, so I'm giving Bill a break and letting his voice rest as well. Do you think Lexington will move into the ice risk that National Weather Service is saying? Yeah, Lexington's already in the ice risk. It's just not as extensive as far as southern Kentucky, where the blue here on the map is. So yeah, I think we will. I think Lexington will see at least some freezing rain. I just don't think it's going to be much. A 1/10 of an inch maybe, up to 1/4 of an inch of ice. Okay. Scrolling through some of your comments. Ooh, do pineapples go on pizza? I believe so. That's a different question. Okay, so Rick Bullock says it is sleeting in Mount Vernon now. Thank you for that report, Rick. Appreciate that. Is the regular rain after the ice good or bad? That is a good question. Regular rain falling over ice at the beginning is bad because it's going to take a minute for that ice to melt, but then it will cause the ice to melt. So at the beginning, it's bad. You want to stay off the roads when it first starts, but then once it's been raining for an hour or two and temperatures start to come up, then it will melt that ice. It also depends on how thick that ice is underneath the rain. Because, think of like an ice cube. If you hold a dry ice cube, it's not very slick, right? Kind of sticks to you. But if you put the ice cube in a glass of water and then pull it out, it's way more slippery. So that's kind of a good illustration of that. Yeah, regular rain over top of ice is absolutely dangerous and slick, but if you give it a couple of hours, it will help to melt the ice. So again, overnight, we're looking at the snow to continue. It will eventually change over to sleet, and then your ice threat or ice storm threat is going to be throughout the day on Sunday. That will start most likely early in the morning, especially in southern Kentucky. You can start to see even 5 a.m., maybe some of that freezing rain beginning south, and then here 7, 8 a.m., the rain really picks up and becomes moderate or heavy by about late morning Sunday, and then continues on throughout the afternoon. Eventually, the rain, sleet, all that kind of wraps up maybe around 5 p.m. It ends as maybe one more little blow of snow, and then after that, the precipitation is pretty much done, and the winter storm is done. There may be a few more snow flurries Monday morning, but no, the storm itself will be finished. Put it back on this map so you guys can see. I'll take maybe just a couple more questions. Yeah, it's not a lot of snow right now. Remember, we were talking about how it's so cold outside right now. It's almost too cold to snow. Have you ever heard the saying, it has to warm up before it snows? That was always what I grew up hearing, and it's true. Once it gets too cold, the air is so dry it just evaporates. That's what we started off seeing earlier in the day today. Temperatures were only in the teens today, so it was too cold to snow. And even when it did start snowing, it's so fine and powdery that it takes a lot of that kind of snow to add up. Once we move into the overnight, we start to see a little bit more of the air becoming saturated, so the snowflakes are going to expand and become bigger. So I think that's why you're going to wake up tomorrow morning and you're going to see more snow and sleet on the ground. Frankfort, you're very similar to Lexington. Frankfort, you actually may have a little bit more snow than Lexington. You're looking at mostly snow. I think you're going to have some sleet in there too. So you may be running in that 8 to 12 inch range, Frankfort. If you see any freezing rain at all, it's going to be very, very little. You'll have some sleet. I think you'll have some sleet, but it's mostly snow for you, Frankfort. Jeannie asks, help me understand, 1/4 of an inch of ice. How bad is that? What happens? 1/4 of an inch of ice may provide small tree limbs breaking off and falling. 1/4 of an inch of ice likely doesn't cause power outages. It can, but likely doesn't. Likely pushes up maybe closer to, here I've got a graphic. I can show you a demonstration with this one. The impacts of ice and how much it takes to actually cause power outages. Here we go. So 1/4 of an inch or less is more of a nuisance. Slick roads, definitely. Light icing on trees, but it's not enough to cause power outages. It's not really enough to cause downed trees. 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, roads are icy, cars, streets are covered, sporadic power outages. When you move into the 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, that's power outages, widespread power outages likely, tree limbs down, roads impassable. At this point, we're not looking at anything over, hopefully, fingers crossed, 3/4 of an inch, because that would be crippling and catastrophic. So we're kind of running in that 1/2 an inch, 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch at the most. So again, power outages are possible. I don't think it's going to be a widespread thing, but yeah, 1/4 of an inch is more or less of a nuisance. Nuisance kind of icing. What should Somerset expect? You're in that, again, 4 to 8 inches of snow, the northern part of Pulaski County. Somerset does look to have more cold rain, just plain rain, plus some freezing rain, and I think quite a bit of sleet as well. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. We're going to have more coming up tonight at 11. Obviously, LEX 18 News at 11. I like to do some videos, but this gives me more of a chance to kind of answer your questions. When I do videos, it's more of just you can kind of watch it and get the information, but I don't get a chance to actually interact with you. So this has been fun. Not the storm is not fun. It's dangerous, but at least it's given me an opportunity to kind of chat with you guys this evening. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying warm. I hope you've got your dogs and your pets inside. So we'll continue to keep an eye on all of this. We'll have the latest coming up for you at LEX 18 News at 11. We're expecting all of this to eventually wind down around this time tomorrow. So one more day to go, and hopefully it's not so bad. But again, this is what we're giving. So I think we've gotten 1 inch of snow in Lexington so far. We'll wake up probably to more in the morning, and then we'll continue to measure. Send me your photos, send me your measurements. If you take a picture of the ruler in the snow, I'd love to see that. And you may see your photo on air or online or on my Facebook. So thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and stay weather aware, and we will talk with you next time.